And we're back to the Wayniac Nation Fantasy Football Spectacular. No, it's not Halloween anymore, but there were nice comments about my daughter's decorations, so we left them on the wall for this set this week. Joining me, as usual, are my two co-hosts live from Tobacco Road. Dunton, how are you?
We're doing all right. Just, living another COVID who's playing and who's not and who's got it this week.
The who's who of coronavirus in the NFL. Live from New York, our daily fantasy guru, Chris Fiamano. FanDuel Fee, how are you?
Doing pretty good. Feeling pretty good about this week.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah, it's an interesting week. And of course, as always, I'm your host, Wayne Cavani, and we're going to just jump right into it this week. We know that there's some real world stuff going on out there, and a lot of us might need a nice friendly distraction with a little fantasy football. So let's get right into it with our Wet Bandits locks of the week. Just like Harry and Marv, we're good at picking the locks, and we were pretty good last week too. I got burned again by the Giants, as Fee advised me not, but I took the Bucks at 8.5. And the Giants, second week in a row, they burned me. But my other lock of the week was the Eagles, and I even said I would never advise to take a 20-point spread unless it's the Chiefs over the Jets, and they did cover. Both Fee and Dunton covered on their picks as well. So we'll just keep rolling. I'll start it this week. I'm in a bit of a pickle in my survivor pool because of the teams I've picked, and I'm still going. So I'm deciding between the Patriots and the Texans. I wouldn't advise either of those two teams against the 7-point spread that's currently being presented to both of them. But I think I'm going to go with the Pats over the Jets because I think the three of us could beat the Jets right now, to be perfectly honest with you. But how about some dogs this week? We don't do a lot of dogs. We've been taking a lot of favorites, but I think, Fee, you're going to like it. I think the Giants cover that 3-point spread. I don't know that they win, but against the Redskins, I think they hang in there, and it's going to be a tight one. It's 3. And again, this is Wednesday. When we're recording, the spread could change, and we will advise you if we think things change on that. I also like the Dolphins getting 4.5, even though we're on the road. I think Tua Time is a different team. I'm willing to take the gamble on the road to see what Tua can do to that offense, but I think the Dolphins impressed me last week. So those are kind of my picks of the week. Fee, I see you laughing. You always have something to say when Giants are involved with my picks, so go for it.
Yeah, Wayne, when are you going to learn? Okay, because this is now week 3 in a row that you're talking about the Giants.
I know.
And 2 weeks that did not go so well. So I'm just saying, maybe you should stay away from them.
Well, this week I'm putting my faith into them. I'm putting my faith into them.
And I'm saying that that's probably not a good idea. That's what they do. I know. I'm a Giants fan.
Yeah, I get it.
They'll suck you in, and then they'll spit you back out. So
I don't have faith in the Redskins.
This should be the week you stay away.
Washington football team.
Oh, I'm sorry, the Washington football team.
That damn football team. All right, anywho. All right, this is what I got. My survivor pick is the Steelers this week. They're playing Dallas, who has just spiraled down into oblivion. Don't even know who their quarterback is this week, but it doesn't really matter.
Do they?
I would also suggest What?
Do they don't know who it is either.
Yeah.
Troy Aikman might come out of the booth.
I would also suggest taking the Steelers minus the points. I believe, Wayne, you told me that they're 13.5 right now.
Mm-hmm. Opened at around 9.5 already.
Yeah, they opened at 9.5. That's where I got them at in my pick'em. But 13.5 is fine too. So I'd take them at 13.5 also. And I also have a second pick here. I'm looking at taking the Packers. And I don't know what the spread is currently, but again, I got them at minus 2.5. It can't be what it's at now.
I think it was
with San Francisco. With San Francisco losing so many players, right? Aren't they playing San Francisco?
Everybody.
Yeah.
They're losing everybody. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd be shocked if it's still something around that. But I would take the Packers this week as well.
And that brings us to you, Dutton. What are you thinking?
So I'm kind of riding you on the uh, underdog train this week, and I am confused by this. Why the Raiders are getting a point and a half going against the Chargers? I guess they figure maybe
I
the
saw that
Chargers
too.
will win the game at the end, but they haven't proven to us that they can. So they'll lose by 3 on a last-second field goal, and the Raiders will cover. So I mean, it doesn't matter. The Raiders are fine. I'm telling you, pick the Raiders this week. I'm all about the Raiders. Um, my other pick that is an interesting game for a couple of reasons. One, because of being a Tampa Bay fan, but the Bucks with their 5.5 points against the Saints, I feel like that's a lot of points. But then also I'm like, that's a touchdown at the end of the game to win the game by 6. Like come back and kind of win it, which could possibly happen. So if you're wanting to have some excitement on your Sunday afternoon, watching what could be a decent football game, and throw some money on the line, play with that Bucks Saints game, that could be fun. So. But my pick is the Raiders getting the
I
win.
gotcha. Very good. Very good. So before we move on to our weekly starts and sits, as always, it's our time to move to our daily fantasy portion. That's always a good time to remind you to visit our friends at Ball Street Trading. And you could trade sports real time, just like you do the stock market for free. And you win cash and prizes. Can't go wrong with that. But you also can't go wrong with FanDuel Fees picks. Another great week for DFS, bankroll action stacks of the week by our own FanDuel Fee. As we've already touched on, and we're going to even get a little bit deeper to in a second, this is a wild week. We have some more injuries, and we have COVID. There's probably more cases announced since we've started this show. We know that guys like Stafford are questionable now. And as you mentioned, the Niners and the Packers don't have – I think they have 2 running backs right now, and one is from the practice squad. So you got your hands full. What are you thinking this week for us, Fee?
So we're going to talk about just the main slate. So we're not going to go off and talk about the Packers and the Niners at all, or the Monday night game, or even the Sunday night game. But this is strictly main slate. But what I'm looking at so far this week, starting with quarterback, I'm looking at Deshaun Watson playing against Jacksonville. He's 8,300, so you're going to have to pay up for him, but I think it probably could be worth it. I'm also looking at Josh Allen playing against Seattle. I say it every week, but they're, worst pass defense in the league. He's 8,200, so you have to pay up for him and probably make a decision between him and Watson. I'm also looking at Big Ben playing Dallas at 7,700 and Justin Herbert playing Vegas. What could be an interesting game that Dunton mentioned, down at 7,100. The running backs, I'm looking at Dalvin Cook. He's 9,300 playing Detroit, but he's extraordinarily expensive, but he might be something worthwhile getting up to. I got James Conner again in that Steelers-Dallas game at 8,200. James Robinson playing Houston at 7,300. And I got Chase Edmonds going against Miami. I know that Miami's rush defense is pretty good, but I like the prospects of Arizona, and he's down at 6,700. Onto the wide receivers, I'm looking at DK Metcalf playing Buffalo at 8,100. I'm also looking at Stephon Diggs playing Seattle at 7,600. You could stack him up with Josh Allen. I really like Brandon Cooks this week playing Jacksonville down at 6,100. And Terry McLaurin playing the Giants at 7,200. And I got one tight end for you, and I think I've mentioned him before, but Noah Fant playing Atlanta down at 5,800.
Very good. Very good. So that you like that Watson Cook stack. I might have to go with that.
I do like the Watson Cook stack. I also like the Allen Diggs stack, but it's going to cost you. So
yeah, for sure. All right. Well, thank you as always, FanDuel Fee. We're going to move on to our weekly starts and stits. There are a lot of holes this week with buys alone. No Robert Woods, no Darrell Henderson, no Higgins, no Fulgham, who's become a fantasy star, no Kareem Hunt. Those are just a few of the names. As we said, there were some Ravens defensive cases popping up. Stafford now is a question mark. Galladay we know is out with an injury. The list goes on and on. So we're going to do our best to make sure that we get the right picks for you this week and fill any holes that you had. Of course, this could all change and check back at our website that you could click on the banner up there There's a link right to our website, and we'll update you on Saturday with anything that we see changing. One question before we jump into it was presented by a longtime listener, Neil. We had been talking about it, and it was, does he go with the stack of Ryan and Ridley or Stafford and Jones? We went back and forth through it. We originally sold on the Falcons, but then we were locked in on the Lions, and lo and behold, several hours later, Stafford was placed on the COVID-19 list. So his question is if Ridley's hurt, which we don't think he's going to be playing 100% if he plays, do you trust Cam Newton or Daniel Jones on the waiver wire this week? Fee, what do you think?
I do not trust Daniel Jones. I think Dunton might have a different opinion. But Washington's front seven I think is just too good to trust him to do much fantasy wise. I think if anything, I would go with Cam, as bad as they have been. But I think he has a better matchup. So yeah. I would go with Cam. If those are your only options, I think I'd go with Cam.
Dunton, what about you?
I mean, it's so hard because you watch Daniel Jones. He's got it. You see the mechanics there. I mean, you see almost
except when he's running in the open field.
Vision. Right.
Decision making,
right?
Decision making.
It's decision making. He holds the ball so
in his
long.
head.
He's got an offensive line that doesn't help him. But at the same time, Cam has not. I mean, everyone was like, "This is going to be Cam. He's Cam and Bill Belichick." Cam looks awful. I mean, right? Cam's exactly what he was last year on the Panthers. I don't know, though. I'm with you, Fee. I think he's got the better matchup. I think the Washington front seven, you said it, is going to eat that offensive line up. So his decision-making will be rushed even more, which he has proven is not great. Cam maybe gets in the end zone once on a run, throws maybe one touchdown pass, maybe gets you 200 yards. I don't know. That's a hard one, but I'd go with Cam, I guess.
I'm gonna agree with you two. I mean, the big thing that I don't think I mentioned on the lead-in is that in discussing it, the three of us agreed that we really do like Denver's pass defense. We think it's a sneaky good pass defense. And while Matt Ryan is about as certain to throw up a ton of yards as any quarterback in the league, they're a solid defense. And Matt Ryan has had those days where, he'll pass for 280, 300 yards, but he won't get in the end zone. But I will agree with you. I will keep faith in Daniel Jones, but I think if you're playing matchups and you need a 1 week go guy, I think you got to go Cam and hope for that rushing touchdown and maybe a little pass touchdown. Mm-hmm. So let's get into our starts and sits. Quarterback. We're starting quarterback. Fee, who are you starting this week?
Yeah, I'm going with Derek Carr playing against the Chargers. The Chargers defenses looked okay, but the Raiders offenses looked even better. So I like Carr's prospects this week.
I'm just going to say Josh Allen, and I'm just going to say he's playing the Seahawks, and move on to Dutton and your start of the week.
I'm going with the other side of Fiamano's matchup, and I'm going with Justin Herbert. Probably in contention for Rookie of the Year, right? Offensive Rookie of the Year, possibly, right? I think he's in the mix. For sure. Averaging almost 300 yards a game. He's going to throw 2 touchdowns, right? Yeah, Fee, you said it. It's probably going to be a shootout. The Chargers are not losing because of their quarterback. The Chargers are losing because their defense cannot stop somebody on the last drive of the game. That's what happens, right? Mm-hmm. Justin Herbert has won 3 games that the Chargers defense has gone and lost, I feel like. So
that's a good point.
But I think he puts up a good matchup for you this week, fantasy-wise. So,
Dutton, we'll stay with you. Who do you got at running back?
James Conner playing the Cowboys. Enough said.
We know who Fee has at running back because Fee either starts him or he sits him. This week he's starting him. Fee, who do you got?
James Robinson, baby. James Robinson playing against Houston.
Yeah. And I'm gonna stay in that game, and I'm going to advise something I would never do. I'm going to advise to start David Johnson. He's so unexciting. He has been a complete flop. Since coming over, he's averaging less than I think it's 2.7 yards per carry on first and second down. He cannot get anything going, but that's real life. We're talking about fantasy. And the fact of the matter is I've had to start him because of the crazy injuries this year for the last 4 weeks. And each one of those 4 weeks, he's gotten over double digits. We're talking about a weird week with a lot of injuries, a lot of buys. You're going to have holes to fill. He's playing the Jaguars. I'll take 12 points if that's all he gets, because he has the ceiling to get that 15 to 20. He does. He has that potential because he does catch the touchdowns and he does rush for him. And yeah, he's going to get you maybe 60 total yards if you're lucky, but he gets those 2 touchdowns to go along with it. You got yourself a good day. So I think this is the week that you take David Johnson, and then you'll never hear me say that again. Moving on, the wide receiver. I know Fee, you mentioned him in your plays for the week in FanDuel. I'm going with McLaurin against the Giants. Dutton, who do you have?
I'm going Will Fuller for the simple reason he's matching up against the Jaguars. Fee mentioned him in his stack up with Watson. There you go.
And Fee, who do you got?
I got the other side of that. I got Brandon Cooks, and same type of deal. I know Jacksonville's better against the pass than they are against the run, but Brandon Cooks has looked solid recently, and I think that he continues doing what he's doing.
Mm-hmm. If you're in a PPR league, watch out for Randall Cobb too. He's been doing those 8 receptions for 60-yard days. So if you're in a PPR, and that's a 14, 15-point day right there. Moving on to tight end, I did have, as you know, we call the tight end start of the week the TJ Hawkinson tight end touchdown king start of the week. And that's who I had going in. He had a very favorable matchup with Stafford going against the Vikings. But I'm going to be honest with you, it's Chase Daniels back there. He has experience. It's not good experience, but he'll be looking to dump off to his tight end, and Hawkinson has proved to be that guy. So I'm sticking with him. Fee, who do you got?
I have Noah Fant going against Atlanta, who has been the worst defense in the league against the tight end.
Fair enough.
There you go.
Dutton?
I'm going to the Sunday night matchup, and I'm going to throw Gronk in there. And we have bagged on Gronk earlier this year when Gronk was a shell of who he was, and rightfully so. Gronk, I don't even think he had a catch in the first game against the Saints. Maybe one. I'm not positive. I don't remember. But he's back. I mean, that over-the-shoulder fade that him and Brady have, it's been 3 weeks in a row. Huge game against the Saints, huge go into first place. Bucks take a 2-game lead on the Saints, I think, if they win. So it's a big one. So Gronk, look for him to have a big night. I know Antonio Brown's back, but watch out for Gronk. So
I know. I agree. And moving to sits, I'm going to stay in that game, and I'm going to tell you to sit Drew Brees. Brees, he doesn't look like Drew Brees. He doesn't have Michael Thomas. I mean, we don't know if he's going to ever have Michael Thomas again at this point. I will say it has made Jared Cook and some of his other weapons a little bit better, but he still just doesn't look like Brees to me. And that Bucs defense, I know the Giants kind of exposed them. I thought it was a great game plan that they had, but Daniel Jones is a lot younger, a lot more mobile, and I don't think Drew Brees has that kind of luck this week. Dutton, who are you thinking?
I think Ryan Tannehill. I think, he falls down a little bit. He fell last week a little bit. I don't think this week is a good matchup for him again. So Ryan Tannehill, be careful with him this week.
Fee, who you got?
I got Teddy Bridgewater. He's playing Kansas City. I know that there could be some garbage time there if Kansas City can run away with it. But I'm not sure that after what Mahomes and company did against the Jets, I'm not sure they're going to go that route again. Kansas City, his defense, they're top 5 against the pass. And they've been really, really good in the last few weeks. And I think they keep it up. So I think Teddy Bridgewater is going to have a rough day.
Oh, I agree with that. We'll touch on that again in just a second. Moving on to running back, I noticed Fee and I both have the same guy, so I'll just touch on him real quick. That we're advising to sit Zeke, who is top 5 pick in your fantasy football league, but he's ice cold. That team is a mess. I understand the Ravens finally cracked that Steelers steel curtain rush defense and actually had a good game. But the Steelers were worried about Lamar Jackson back there, and there is nobody to worry about back there in Dallas. You can't sit him right now. He hasn't scored double digits in 3 weeks now. He hasn't gotten the end zone, I think, in 3 weeks. It's a weird time, but you can't sit one of the best players. You can't start one of the best players in fantasy football. Anything to add, or should we just go right on to Dutton and keep the train moving?
With everything the Wayniac said.
Dutton,
That's it.
on to you. Who are you sitting?
So, as much as I want you to start Rob Gronkowski when the Bucks play the Saints, you need to sit the Bucks running backs only because you don't know who to play, right? Like Ronald
That
Jones
Patriots
was,
situation.
it's ridiculous. Ronald Jones was averaging, I think, 4.8 yards on his first 6 carries the other night. Tom Brady throws a pass, it gets deflected. Jones tries to catch it, it gets stripped. It might not even have been a fumble, and you didn't see him until the third quarter of the game, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard. But then Fournette comes in, and Fournette's like, I get 2 yards here, I get 2 yards there, I bust a big run. But I don't know. It's hard. I mean, they're both playing well, but they're not getting you fantasy numbers.
Right.
They're doing what they're supposed to be doing for their team, but they're not putting up fantasy numbers. So sit both the Bucks running backs, unless you have them both, and then play them, because then you'll get some of the points somehow. I don't know.
Let's just keep moving on to receiver. Dutton, we'll stay with you. Who do you got?
I'm sitting Allen Robinson playing the Titans, right? I mean, I don't know. Tough week. There you go. Tough
It's
matchup.
weird because a lot of our matchups are opposite as I look at who Fee's about to tell you about. So Fee, why don't you tell us?
Yeah, I got Corey Davis. I know he went nuts last week, and he was everybody's, golden boy and all that. But Chicago's got a good defense, and Tennessee also has A.J. Brown. So I'm not sure exactly how they're going to go, but I'd sit Corey Davis this week because I wouldn't expect him to do what he did last weekend again.
Yeah, no, that's a good call. If you've watched the show, you know that I've started this guy. I've told you to start this guy a bunch, but going on what Fee said about quarterback, I'm telling you to sit Robbie Anderson this week. The Chiefs, you can run all day on the Chiefs, but their pass defense, it's the 4th least fantasy points against wide receivers this year. They're allowing just 10.4 receptions a game to the receivers, all of them. and the Panthers do have they're not big names, but they have a nice stable of receivers. You got Samuel, you got mouths to feed, so I don't think this is the week that you start Robbie Anderson. Moving on to tight end. Fee, who are you sitting this week?
I am sitting the opposite of my start Noah fan. I'm sitting Hayden Hurst this week going against Denver.
Dutton?
I'm sitting Mark Andrews going against the Colts. We've talked about that defense a lot. Every week they come up as a tough matchup. I think they're a tough matchup for the tight end this week. I don't know. There you go. Sit Andrews.
I'm going with Mike Gesicki. Really, it doesn't matter who he's playing right now. I think he's one of the most disappointing picks in fantasy this year. I'm not saying that people invested a lot in him, but a lot of people drafted him. I think a lot of people had big expectations. He looked great at the end of last year. He's just unplayable right now. He's 1 catch for 8 yards. They got a G2 football, Ashland Eagles, Adam Shaheen, who's coming. He's playing tight end a little bit. He's been getting some nice touchdown looks in the red zone. So, Gesicki's 1 catch a week isn't even a red zone target. It's usually somewhere in the middle of the field. So he's just not a playable tight end. And I just think he's one of the bigger disappointments in fantasy football this year with the expectations that were placed on him. But that takes us to the end of the show. Please, if you like what you see, click the little like and subscribe the button down there. Don't forget, our own FanDuel Fee is doing a weekly wrap-up to show you how we did so you can see for yourself how we helped you or how we hurt you. You just click on the link. It's up there in the banner. You'll see the link directly to the website. And if you sign up on the website and follow us, you'll get it right to your inbox so you can get those every day. We're going to start.
It'll be up tomorrow.
And we'll be up tomorrow. And we're going to start giving you an update on Saturday in case, especially with all these injuries, in case some of our starts and sits aren't able to play this week. We'll give you an updated list of who you should get in there. Thank you, as always, for joining us. We'll see you next week.